Everyone just take a big deep breath for me. Thank you, that just helps me calm down. Now I'd like to get you to close your eyes. We're in a room with no windows, so this should be nice. Okay, so imagine this. You're gliding underwater with a pod of orcas. One of them stops to look at you, and it's so close that you can touch it. Suddenly, it dives, and you look down into the depths and follow it. Later, you surface and climb into a waiting boat. You look to the right. Someone's talking to you. Did you enjoy your dive? You turn and find yourself face-to-face with marine scientist Sarika Suzuki. She describes the critical role of apex predators that they play in the ocean food web. And behind her, an orca leaps out of the water. You freeze frame it in mid-leap and glide over to have a closer look. Text slides out to the whale, detailing its weight, age, diet preferences, swimming speed, and migratory pathway. You're an 11-year-old in Corner Brook, Newfoundland, sitting at your kitchen table using your smartphone. You're doing your homework using Ocean School. So that's our dream. That's the team's dream for what Ocean School could be someday. Ocean School is a really exciting collaborative effort to further engage youth and everyone in ocean learning using 21st century learning techniques and technology. So when I say we, who do I mean? Well, two pretty big powerhouse institutions of Dalhousie, where we are here today, and the National Film Board of Canada, the NFB. For those of you familiar with Dal, you know it's a world leader in ocean science and one of Canada's ocean universities. For those of you who might not be as familiar with the National Film Board of Canada, I'm sure you've seen an NFB film in your life, whether you know it or not. They're an incredible storytelling institution and one of the world's great creative laboratories. So this partnership is really unique in terms of bringing science and filmmaking together to create a really unique, innovative, collaborative learning opportunity for students across Canada. All right. So the NFB has 70 years of experience providing these learning opportunities. And it's an innovative leader in online learning tools, and it reaches 2.9 students in K-12 across Canada right now. So that's pretty interesting. And 90% of post-secondary institutions use NFB as resources. You guys all know about Dalhousie being a recognized leader in ocean science, Canada's largest saltwater research facility, and tons of connections with ocean scientists across the globe. So, like most good things, Ocean School was dreamt up over a beer or a hike between an ocean scientist and a filmmaker. And they both thought, we love the oceans, how do we help young people share that same love, that joy, that wonder? And they thought, with both of our expertise, we can combine this together to make something great. So there's a lot of science these days pointing to the need for ocean literacy. As we all know, our colleagues in America who have come up with the ocean literacy principles and the ocean literacy framework, the definition of being the understanding of the ocean's influence on you and your influence on the ocean. So that has been a huge driving force in ocean literacy efforts around the world. I did a study a few years ago here at Dal, which looked at grades 7 to 12 students in Nova Scotia, asked about 800 of them questions about the ocean and their interest for it. And what I found was that these young people had a really keen interest in the ocean, and they really valued it in their lives. But there was definitely opportunity to increase their knowledge about the ocean and to give opportunities for them to connect with the ocean more. And finally, we have reports that are coming out about young people leaving the province, but the ocean sector is growing. So there's an interesting sort of, if you imagine a big graph, I see the quadrat sort of lining up perfectly. It's like, this is happening, and it's like in the middle. I think Ocean School could be a great answer to like a lot of these questions and issues that are arising right now. So there's a huge opportunity to use the oceans as a teaching method because we know that students are interested and excited about this mysterious big blue sea. And we know that there are advances in technology. Students are using iPads in the classroom. Most students have smartphones, and there's already about a 4-to-1 ratio of devices in the classroom to students. So there's an opportunity here where we have technology that sometimes can separate us from nature. As technology advances and we're able to have more of an immersive experience in natural environments that we can't get to, I see that this could come full circle. And technology might be driving us away from nature in some ways in terms of trends. You guys have heard, maybe Richard Louv has a famous book, Last Child in the Woods, a lot about nature deficit disorder. But as we improve our ability to take people to environments they just wouldn't ever be able to go as a means of connecting them to these natural spaces, I think that's personally very, very awesome and exciting. And speaking of last night, it's not just all about doom and gloom. Students are excited because of mystery, the power, innovation. There's so much with the oceans that's beyond doom and gloom. So Ocean School is modeled on an NFB program, Space School, which was the idea to connect students with concepts with space using the champion Chris Hadfield. And so Ocean School is actually using a similar term of Ocean Champions. So Boris is our first Ocean Champion and host of Ocean School, the pilot program. And the idea here is to connect young people with real researchers doing real research out on expeditions and have these people champion the program and be mentors for students. That being said, what I'm presenting today is by no means the final product. What we've been learning while producing is that curriculum's changing, technology's changing. We want to create an amazing product for students to be able to use and teachers to be able to use in classrooms. But there is no easy road because virtual reality 360 video has not been used in the classroom in this way before. Even within the National Film Board, their education department is working with their film department in a way that they never have before. Normally you produce a film and then you create the educational resources that sort of tie to that film. And they're doing something totally different. They're breaking all those barriers and saying, no, we need to create a framework for education, build films around it, and have the two inform each other at every step of the way. So it's really interesting from your perspective too. And there's a lot of interesting roads we're going down and learning about while we're doing this process. But we all come back to the vision and goals of this project. Regardless of the nitty-gritty, we want to create an innovative learning experience for students in grades 6 to 9, starting in Nova Scotia, expanding to Canada, and eventually accessible around the world, to provide an opportunity to experience the ocean like never before. We want to connect Canadians to the ocean, like I said, starting with Canada and expanding for this to be a global effort. We want to spark innovation. We want to make science cool. So there's a big idea to move students away from just being students and to being scientists, thinking like a scientist, using inquiry. One of the metaphors, love metaphors, is to, instead of being a filter feeder sponge as a learner, we don't want you to sit there and passively take in information, let it go. We want you to be a shark using like electromagnetic sensors to like seek out what you're curious about and find what you want to learn and build your own knowledge. So that's really exciting to me too. So we have lots of goals. We want it to be highly immersive. We want stewardship, issue-based learning. We want it to be integrated across subjects, citizenship, curiosity, problem solving, exploration. We want so much out of this program. And that's what's so exciting, is that we have all these big ideas floating around, and VR, 360, and innovative teaching practices are a way to capture all of these things in a really fun model that we're coming up with. So the elements of Ocean School are sort of threefold. It's going to be in the classroom, grades 6 to 9 across Canada, primarily. It's going to be at home through an app or website accessible for students beyond the classroom or people who aren't even accessing it in the classroom. And it's going to be in person. We imagine having a physical space where we can also have students come here to Dalhousie, do research projects, upload their data, have students work with it across the country, ask questions, be tweeting at each other. We really want this to be something that if it's a headquarters where students can come and learn about the ocean and do science, that's translatable across the program to students in Alberta and Nunavut or BC, that they can see the data coming. So what does it look like in the classroom? Well, the cool thing about the NFB, they already reached 2.9 million students across Canada. So when we create this program and have it on their educational platform, teachers immediately will have access to this. And it's not going to be behind a paywall. Some of the resources are, this is going to be open. We're aimed at grades 6 to 9 across Canada, so middle school, which is exciting because I think Carrie's presentation moves more towards 9 to 12 or 10 to 12 of high school. So this is sort of the target audience that we're approaching is 6 to 9. And that students will explore marine environments using 360 video. I really wish I remembered my Google Cardboard. Who here has heard of Google Cardboard? One, couple people? Okay. So essentially, to view a 360 video, imagine you have your smartphone. Who here has seen a 360 video? Okay, a couple more people. Essentially, the gyrosphere or gyroscope, I'm not sure what it's called, gyrosphere, inside your phone, can sense where you are. So if you're looking at a video that's been filmed in 360, it's as if you're in the room right now. If I filmed right now, I'd be able to look over at Michelle, or look over at Justine. Depending on where I put my camera, it would look an entirely different place in the frame. So Google created this thing called Google Cardboard, open patented, so anyone can make it, and it's a foldable device that's usable for most size smartphones. You just make it out of cardboard, slide in the smartphone, do it up, and you have a little headset that helps you look around and feel immersed in this environment. Awesome. So that's the sort of idea behind getting this immersive experience. These things. So where are we now? Well, we need to pilot this. We have these big ideas. We want to know what works, what doesn't. We want feedback from students and teachers. So through generous support from the Nova Scotia Department of Education and recently Fisheries and Oceans, we're going to be piloting this project in grade 7 classes this fall in Nova Scotia. So we're going to be designing a 3-class experience. Teachers are going to have a chance to go through the program. Students are going to experience it. We're going to say, what worked for you? What did you like? What didn't you? We also have an incredible advisory panel of ocean education experts who are helping us along the way. I really believe in collaboration and using expertise. We don't want to build a program without having as many people help build that as possible. We're focusing on food webs and food chains as well. So that's sort of the focus of the grade 7 topic. And this all comes from a quote that I really like that we're using in this pilot, which is, don't build it for me without me. We're building this program for teachers and we're building it for students, but we need to have their input before we roll out and go to a much larger model of across Canada. So we're starting in Nova Scotia, we're starting with a pilot, and we want to ask all these critical questions. We want to know if students are engaged in sciences, we want to know if they're interested in innovation and building around the oceans. We want to know the teacher reaction to the learning model. The learning model takes a bit of a different course from what is currently in the curriculum. We're moving a lot towards more of an inquiry-based model. So that's new for teachers. Getting students to think like scientists is a bit different than the prescribed, learn this, learn this, learn this content model. And so it's very interesting because Nova Scotia and across Canada right now there's a big shakeup in curriculum. It's moving away from that content model much more towards kind of an inquiry-based, starting in Alberta and BC and now happening in Nova Scotia this year 4 to 6 and in the next few years from 7 to 9. So we want to see if this experiment works. How does this help teachers? How could it be better to help them in the future? Am I almost at 1 minute? I bet. Oh, well, I'm going to be early. So we see this as a perfect storm. There are reports saying that students are excited about the ocean, but that there's an opportunity to increase that knowledge that might not be there now. We have students who are not getting engaged in ocean careers while the ocean sector is growing. So that's a really interesting, perhaps miss that this could help fill. We have incredible advances in technology, but we have students who are disconnected from the ocean. So we're trying to leverage that as an opportunity and see it as an advantage. And Canada has committed to improving ocean literacy on the Atlantic coast by signing the Galway Agreement for Ocean Literacy between the Atlantic coasts of Europe and North America, as well as Department of Fisheries and Oceans has a mandate to improve ocean awareness. So Canada is committed to increasing ocean awareness and understanding. We have 2 organizations with really exceptional talent. I think the Science Powerhouse and the Film Powerhouse are going to make a really interesting experience. And we have young people who have a thirst for learning more about the ocean. So we see this as a perfect storm that we're hoping to fill. I probably forgot a bunch of things, but that's why we're going to have a long Q&A. So the time to bring ocean literacy to the classroom is now.